Dear Derry, welcome to Motivational Monday. God, is it Monday? It's Monday. Holy crap. Holy crap. Monday, December 20, I almost said 22nd, 23rd. I looked at it. It clearly says December 23rd on my keyboard because I've got one of those G15s. I had to look to check. G15. It's got the little flip up LCD thing. And I was looking at it, looking right at it, saying Monday, December by the time I got to there, I'd forgotten what it said. Clearly, I need more tea. And it's still warm. This is it's one Lipton tea bag and one Twinings Earl Grey tea bag. So it's kind of, not interracial, but it's, yeah, it's a mixed couple. Oh, it feels so good. It's so nice. So, Motivational Monday. Motivational Monday, for those of you who have just started watching and don't know, Skype chirping away, don't know what Motivational Monday is about. It's the day that I try to come up with a saying or something that has a motivational, an inspirational quality to it. Now, I was trying to figure out, usually, like the first one of these I did, which was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I think, I had one or two things ready to go. And it was a motivational day for me. So it was very easy for me to come up with something. The day after, or the week after that, I was like, oh crap, it's Monday. And I had to go and rush and look something up. But I found something and I made it work and it was fine. And last week I was like, not feeling very motivated. So it was, again, I waited until the last minute. Now this time, today, my mustache itches. This time, today, I was writing up, like I think I've told you guys, I've decided to create a Patreon account, and I'm in the process of kind of writing up the blurb that goes on that, and I've been really having a hard time. I think it's going to be one of my biggest hurdles to kind of get over with regard to, pushing my acting career and getting it going, is I have a really hard time kind of talking about myself I don't want to say in a positive light. I have no problem talking about myself in a positive light. I have a problem holding myself up as, look at me. It just, that feels so odd to me. Oh, that almost came out Canadian. Sorry about that. Not that there's anything wrong with Canadians. You're all fantastic. You're not all fantastic. I do know a few dick Canadians, and not in a good way. So, right. Patreon. So I'm writing up this thing, and I'm like, I'm sitting there and I'm just staring at this blank page, that which Edgar Allan Poe referred to as the White Plague. And I'm trying to figure out what am I gonna write? What do I put in here? And I'm like, this is the same problem that I have with writing in general. I've told you guys before on Writing Wednesday, if I don't have a specific line or something, and if I don't have a title, if I don't have a seed, a germinating point from which to, unwind the story, I can't figure out where to go. I just kind of sit there and wind up staring at the page. And the problem is, the longer I stare at a blank page, the more frustrating it becomes. The more frustrating it becomes, the tighter it winds up, and the harder it becomes to do anything with. And it becomes this self-defeating cycle. So what I decided to do with the Patreon thing is just, screw it. Just start writing something. It doesn't matter what. Just start writing and let it go. Stream of consciousness. Just let it pour out. And eventually I go back later on and I'll look through it and like, okay, this kind of, identifies what it is that I want to do. Why do I want to create this Patreon page? Why do I want to ask people, hey, could you give me $2 a month, for, say, 20, Dear Dairies a month or something. $2 for 20? $1 for 10? That's 50 cents for 5. That's less than a quarter per episode. Wow. And you actually get more than that in a month. So you talk about value. Oh yeah, that's whatever. And then anything else on top of that is bonus content, which I may put up there because, of course, I'm going to start redoing my the WoW audiobooks and the Skyrim audiobooks. Once ESO comes out in April, I'm going to go ballistic on that thing. And just all this stuff that I'm just itching to do. The only reason I'm not doing it yet is really, honestly, because of the YouTube content ID things. I'm still terrified that I'm going to put these things up. And, well, no, I guess I don't have any. No, I don't have an excuse for that. I don't, because I can put the videos up unlisted and say, monetize this. And then YouTube will go in and run it against all of their little content IDs. And if nobody makes a claim against it, they got nothing to say. Sorry. So it's not like Dear Dairy, where it's a daily thing. And so it's very difficult to upload days in advance to allow for that. Anyway, Motivational Monday. Shall we just drop back, haul in the reins and drop back to Motivational Monday? What was the motivational story that I wanted to tell you guys today? Because I've already burned 6.5 minutes talking about everything but, well, not everything, but anyway, I've already told you guys about my first time mascotting and what that was like at the Happy Hollow Park and Zoo in San Jose. I did not include the times that I was a clown because that's a whole different thing. What I didn't tell you about the time that I was mascotting, which this didn't happen the first time, but it has happened many, many, many times while, throughout the 10 years that I had done mascotting professionally. Now, since it is also, obviously, judging by this tree right here, Christmas time, tomorrow's Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve is, as of the time I'm recording this, is an hour and 45 minutes away. Since, it's family, holiday, blah, blah, blah time, one of the things that was always the most, not harrowing, but worrying, I guess, doesn't quite apply. Anyway, you'll understand which word I'm going for when I tell you the rest of the story, is a moment where a child is lost. They've become separated from their parents or whatever, and they're just standing there crying, and I mean, even if they're not crying, you can tell that they're getting upset because they have no idea where their family is, and they're isolated, they're alone, they're getting scared. It's getting really, really bad. I have seen this happen probably more times than I can count when doing, mascot stuff. And invariably, in every single case, what I did was, if I had an escort, I would, reach over and take the kid by the hand, and I would go and get my escort, and I'm like, and my escorts are usually good enough to say, "Oh, are you lost?" And they're like, "I can't find my mom." And then we start looking. Sometimes I'll pick the kid up and I'll hold them. It's very rare that I will pick up a child, but getting them up off the ground gives them a higher field of view. And I'm like, look around. I don't say anything, but I communicate to it. And then my lackey, my handler, my escort will, translate for me if necessary. And the kid will start looking around and they'll be like, there's my mom right there. Sometimes we don't find them. We had one time, I think it was the longest time we'd ever dealt with. It was a parent the kid had been separated from their family for almost an hour. It was like 45 minutes. This kid, was on his own. I believe it was a little boy. No, I'm sorry. It was a little girl. And I believe, if I remember correctly, I was dressed up as the Cookie Mouse from If You Give a Mouse a Cookie, the books, which I didn't know anything about the character when I was playing him. All I knew was it was a mouse in a pair of overalls with a cookie stuck in it. I'm like, what is this character? You can't just stick me in a suit and not tell me who the character is. I need to know who the character is. So why don't they include the book with the suit so that whoever's performing can read the book real quick and go, okay, now I get it. Anyway, I mean, throughout the day, people were like, "Oh, it's the Cookie Mouse." I'm like, okay, thank God somebody knows who I am. And so over the course of, like a couple of hours, I pieced together, who the character was and figured out how would this character act. Okay, fine. I've got it now. Anyway, back to the kid, little girl. And she was upset. She wasn't too bad at first. But, when I had picked her up and we were looking around and we couldn't find her family at all. And, I basically told her, you can stay with me. I was due to go out for, a break, but I was like, I am not leaving, because she was comfortable with the character. She knew who the character was. There was a sense of safety, I guess. And so, there was no way I was leaving this kid. Not a chance till we found, who their parents were or where their parents were. Both, really. So my escort was like, do you want to take a break? I'm like, and he's like, okay, all right, we'll do it. And so after like 45 minutes, I'm just sitting on a bale of hay. Virtually everybody else is gone. It was like there were shows or something going on in other places and whatnot. And it was maybe 2 or 3 kids hanging around with the other characters. And this little girl was sitting there with me. And I just had her sitting on my lap while I was sitting on this bale of hay. And I was falling apart inside this suit because it was hot. I believe, if I remember correctly, this was in Fresno. Or something. I'm pretty sure it was Southern California. I'm pretty sure it was summer. It was not at all a pleasant time to be in a mascot costume. No. Anyway. All of a sudden, we hear this woman call out this name. And I've since forgotten the name. It might have been Catherine. It might have been Kristen. It might have been something like that. Calls out. A kid jumps off my lap and runs. And I'm like, that's probably Mom. Right there. And, so there's lots of, tearful reunion stuff and everything. And the little girl comes running back over to me and she hugs me and says, thank you. And I practically broke down inside the suit. It was just, oh. And she goes running back over to her mother, and her mother comes over and is like, oh my God, thank you so much for, for keeping an eye on her and keeping her safe. And I was like, no problem. Of course, don't say anything because that completely shatters the illusion of the Cookie Mouse. If the Cookie Mouse is like, oh, I think I'm going to don't do that. Anyway, so she tried to give me a tip. Like, she tried to give me money. I'm like, no. That's one thing I do like to do. It is generally regarded as, don't make noise. But noises like that, they translate perfectly through a costume. So I have no problem making noises like that. Coughing, clearing your throat, whistling. On occasion, maybe, if you're in the right situation, the right circumstance, laughter. But probably no. Anyway, so that coming up on 13 and a half minutes. And that's pretty much my inspirational thing. It's always one of my favorite moments. Maybe as a mascot, making a child smile, making them laugh, and thereby their parents is part of the job. I mean, that is the very core element of the job, is entertaining people in whatever way necessary. But it is going a little bit further when becoming a sense of security for somebody is an extension of that job. And we see that a lot with firefighters. Actually, in recent years, I guess in the last 10 years or so, they've started carrying a small supply of like stuffed animals on the trucks with them, so that when they go to houses and stuff that have kids that are, kids are just freaking out because their house is just burned down. And so the firemen have these plush toys for these kids to give them something, comfortable to hold on to, some, a security item of some type. So consider this, something that you can do, not just at Christmas time, because it is, we're right down to the wire, so it might be a little late to be telling you this, but consider this as something that you guys can do, for donations and whatnot. Go to the store, buy a couple of stuffed animals or whatnot, take them to your local fire department and donate them. Take them over there and say, hey, I heard that, certain fire departments were doing this. Do you guys do this? because I'm more than happy to help supply, to donate, I think just, it helps. You'd be amazed at how much it helps. Anyway, so there you go. There's what you can do to help make the world a brighter place for somebody who needs it, honestly. And there you go. That is motivation. That is inspiration. That is doing good works. All right. So here we are, 15 and a half minutes. I will talk to you guys tomorrow for TMI Tuesday. What story will I be telling tomorrow? Will it be another story? Will it be the other night with Paul? Maybe. Maybe. It might be something more recent. Because I have two. I have two stories that I would very much like to tell with this last week, because you've got Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. Both of those are Tuesday. So, you'll have to come back tomorrow and find out. And feel free to check out my Patreon page, and I'll put a link to the thing in the bottom, and you will find it so amazing that it looks like such crap right now. It's okay. It's a work in progress. Don't judge me. Don't you judge me, because it's slowly coming together. It's going to be beautiful when I'm done, sometime in 2016, I think. Oh my God. Go away. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Be careless.